kid in band was obsessed with yo mama jokes. Yo mama so squiggly, she squiggle on me. And he would say them every day. Yo mama so old, she pre-ordered the Bible. Yo mama so ugly, not even goldfish crackers smile back. Then a hurricane happened. Schools closed for a while, and everybody comes back. Everyone's talking about it, seeing who lost power, who's got flooding, all that stuff. Band class starts up again. The teacher's getting everybody settled in. All right, class, settle down, settle down. I'm glad to see all of you are well. Well, then this kid walks in, the yo mama kid. He's got the biggest smile on his face. The whole class can see what's coming. The teacher asks, Kevin, how you doing, buddy? Kid goes, yo mama. And before he could even finish, the teacher cuts him off without missing a beat. He says, died in the hurricane. I am so sorry. Silence. You could hear a pin drop. Yeah, the teacher's mom passed away during the hurricane. The kid's just sitting there, shocked. He quietly turns around, walks back to his seat, sits down. And according to every single person in that room, the yo mama joke kid never made a yo mama joke ever again. So this guy's nephews are graduating high school. It's a big crowd, he knows it's gonna be packed. So he shows up to the graduation early. He brought his own folding chair because he has bad knees, and he brought some headphones. So he opened his chair, sat down, and popped his headphones in. And because he's early, he was just chilling by the entrance. About 40 minutes before they let everybody in, this pregnant woman shows up. Somebody must have let her cut in line because all of a sudden she's right next to him. And not even 5 minutes later, she taps him on the shoulder and says this, excuse me, would you mind letting me sit in your chair? I'm having trouble standing. Okay. He's polite about it. He goes, I'm sorry, I can't. I got really bad knees and bad feet, so, I need it. That's why I brought it. She nods and then asks again like 2 minutes later. And he's like, yeah, still no, I'm sorry. So now she's annoyed. She's huffing and puffing. She turns to her husband and is like, can you say something to him, please? Hey man, she's pregnant. Would you mind letting her sit in that seat? All of these people, okay? Anyway, this guy says, I get it, but I really do need it. That is why I brought it. She can wait in the car or maybe sit on the curb or something. I don't know. It's not my problem. Now this lady's husband flips. Wow, you are such an a**hole. Here's the thing. This guy came early. He planned everything. He brought his own chair because he has bad knees and feet. That's his chair. And now he's the bad guy for not giving his chair to some rude pregnant lady? Please. That's his search history? Yup. Oh my. This teacher left his smartboard on when he went to the bathroom and he completely exposed himself. Not like that, chill. But his laptop was still connected, still unlocked, and the screen was just sitting there. At first, nobody cared. But then somebody looked up and noticed something. There was a tab open next to the one that he had up, and it had his full name on it. Yo, wait. Did he Google himself? Oh my god, he did. So they clicked it, and yes, he had Googled himself. Full name typed into Google. And there were other tabs open too, of like photos. And one of the photos was from some old college article. And the photo was zoomed in on his face, like he was looking for a version of himself that he used to be. They started checking other tabs. One said, how to become a principal. Another said, can teachers date each other? And the last one just said, meme template. Kids were laughing, they were taking pictures, but then the door opened. He saw the board, saw what was open on his computer, and he just stood there. He closed the laptop, looked around the room, and said, do y'all ever have those days where you just don't even recognize yourself anymore? He then just sat back down at his desk, and nobody said a word after that. They said it was actually a pretty sad moment. Poor guy. Yo, there's pizza in the hallway, guys. Best day ever. At this one school, there was this one kid that we'll call Logan, who didn't say much all year. He was pretty quiet. Good grades, chill energy, he never got into trouble. But on the last day of school, something inside him switched. He walks in, he nods to the front office lady, and he says, last day of school, I got big plans for it. Now, nobody thought anything of it until about 10 minutes later. An intercom announcement comes on, but it's not from the principal. It's Logan's voice. Good morning, students and staff. May I have your attention, please? And everyone's listening very intently because he sounds pretty official. Then he says this. Due to a clerical error, several classrooms have been issued complimentary pizza. During your third period class, please check the hallways. People laugh. They think it's a prank. But then third period rolls around and one kid decided to check the hallway about halfway through. And there's a pizza box. And another, And another. Every hallway there were full pizza boxes still hot. Teachers are opening doors like, what is going on? Oh, that is so much pizza. But as you can imagine, kids are now losing their minds. Someone grabbed 2 boxes and ran to the bathroom, where I assumed he sat there and ate them. These kids said it was a complete blast. Yes, it was chaotic and people were getting in trouble, but memories, right? Well, this is what happened. Turns out Logan saved up all year. Lunch money, birthday cash, he put it all into this. He ordered 50 pizzas to all arrive at the same time to the school. He had convinced the school secretary to help him with this because he's told her, come on miss, the last day should feel like the last day. Okay. She let him use the intercom, she helped him bring the pizzas in. At the end of the day, the students were trying to find Logan to thank him, but he had skipped out early. He was already home, chilling in his room, playing Xbox. An absolute legend. He did all of this just to make people's last day of school feel memorable. Respect. He rarely talks, he doesn't ask questions, he just fixes stuff. Every school's got that one person who just handles everything. At this school, it was the janitor. He was a quiet dude, always wore the same faded button-up. He never ran, never seemed to be in a rush. He just walked around like he had all the time in the world. But somehow, whenever something went wrong, he was always there. Locker jammed, you'd turn around and he'd be there already, crouching down with some tools. Happens when it rains. You're good to go. Popping it open in 2 seconds. Projector broke during a presentation. Teacher's panicking, and from the back of the room, mind if I take a look? Vending machine eats your dollar. He doesn't even ask. He just walks up, slaps the machine, and boom, there's your chips. Walks away. Like a freaking legend. Like I said, he was quiet and he barely talked, but he always showed up at the exact right moment. One time, a kid twisted their ankle during gym class, and the gym teacher was freaking out. 15 seconds later, here he comes with an ice pack and a rolly office chair. Have a seat right here. Put this on your ankle. Mr. Stevens, I'm rolling him to the nurse's office. Okay, you guys have a great class. Come on. He wasn't nosy. He didn't snitch on anybody. He just fixed things. And when someone would say thank you, he would just nod and say, that's what I'm here for. Best janitor ever. Is that Miss Carter's voice? Oh my god, her mic is still on. One time, this teacher left the room to take a quick phone call, but she forgot that her microphone was on, and the entire class heard everything. So this teacher had one of those little mics that would clip to your shirt and connect to some speakers in the classroom because her voice was naturally very quiet. She gets a phone call, so she steps out into the hallway. She shuts the door behind her, and then suddenly, no, because I'm not doing this again, Brian. It blasts through the classroom like an announcement. Everyone just goes dead silent. You said you were gonna handle the wedding invites, and now I'm the bad guy? She was pacing the hallway, full on arguing with this Brian guy, but the room could hear every single word through the speakers. I don't care if your mom doesn't like it, she's not the one getting married, Brian. Someone in the back whispered, Brian is so done for, man. The teacher then walks back in and the class is just sitting there silently staring at the speakers. Did you guys hear all that? Yeah. Oh, okay. She turned bright red, turned off her mic, and went back to teaching like nothing happened. And here's the part that I'm sure some of you are wondering. The engagement was called off a couple months later. I'll give her a clean 7. Could have been worse. 7. Generous. Every time this class got a sub, there was this one kid who would quietly take out a piece of paper, title it Sub Scoreboard, and start grading the sub as the class went on. No one said anything, no one gave it away, it was just this perfect silent agreement that this class always did. He kept the scoreboard hidden in between his notebook like it was official, and the stuff he graded? Petty, specific, unnecessary stuff. -1 for mispronouncing names, -2 for saying, I don't know, I'm just the sub. +3 if they actually followed the lesson, -1 if the class got too loud, and bonus points if they brought in snacks. He'd make a mark, nod to himself, and keep going. Just stay in your assigned seats, okay? I don't know, I'm just a sub. Then at the end of the class, right before the bell, he would walk up, fold the paper once, and hand it to the sub. Final score, 7 out of 10. Not bad. Some subs laughed, some were not amused at all. And one time, this sub read the paper, looks at the kid and says, you think you're funny? Let's see if the principal thinks this is funny. The kid just blinks, grabs the paper back, and adds 1 more score. -5, no sense of humor. He folds it again, hands it back, and he walks away. That kid is hilarious. Shut it down. We can't. There's a wait list. At this one high school, there was this one kid that never taught, like ever. Nobody even really knew his name. But one Monday, he walked into the cafeteria with a massive backpack. Everyone was very curious, like, what the heck is in there, man? He sat down and he pulled out a full-size blender, a jug of orange juice, and some frozen fruit. He plugged it into an outlet and... Everyone was staring. This kid's making a frickin' smoothie? And lunch? He poured that smoothie into a cup and handed it to the kid next to him. For me? Okay. Yo, that's good. Just handed the kid a smoothie without saying anything. The next day he did the same thing. Brought the blender in, made smoothies, but this time he handed 3 cups out to people. And again, every student loved them. Day after that, 5 cups. It's like he was testing the clientele to see what they liked. Well, by Friday, he had a handwritten sign that he put in front of this lunch table. Smoothies, $2. Mango, pineapple, or strawberry banana. And the wild part? He was good. Frozen fruit was packed in dry ice. The straws were pre-torn so we could just pop them in there. And he had a punch card system. Buy 5, get 1 free. At first, the teachers didn't really notice. He was blending during the loud parts of lunch. He even had a kid from drama club doing the marketing. Attention everybody, everybody. There are smoothies at table 20. Go get yours now. This all started crumbling down when kids stopped waiting in line for lunch and they began waiting in line for these dang smoothies. What in the world is going on over there? Some kid's got a blender and he's making smoothies and people are paying for him, man. I don't know. Well, shut it down. I can't, man. There's a wait list. Mrs. Johnson's in line. I'm so excited for my smoothie. Principal didn't care. He came over and took the blender, unplugged it. He was shut down. But was he? That kid missed school the next day, but then he came back with a battery-powered blender. He didn't need to plug it in anymore. During lunch that day, the principal and the school police liaison came and got him. They brought him to the office, and everybody thought he was done for. But then the next day, he came back with a new and improved sign. Smoothies, $2. Mango, pineapple, or a strawberry banana. Now approved by school. Turns out him and the principal made a deal. Okay, fine, you can sell them at lunch, but you have to also sell them at every single school event this year, and we take a 5% cut. The money you make during lunch, that's yours though. Deal? By the end of the year, that kid earned enough money to buy a used car. He was the silent smoothie slinger. Gotta respect the hustle. What are you dipping your fries in? Applesauce? Ugh. So one day, this cafeteria lady says, no more salt or pepper, and just straight up takes all the packets of salt and pepper off the cart. Gone. People are like, wait, what? Why? And she says this, it's part of the new health initiative. We're cutting back on sodium. But here's the thing, they did this, but they're still selling Mountain Dew in the vending machine. 52 grams of sugar, fully stocked, vending machine right across from the lunch line. Doesn't make any sense. So now lunch is like unseasoned chicken sandwich, wet green beans, and a bright green bottle of rocket fuel. One kid goes, we can't have salt, but I can buy a Code Red before math class? Make it make sense. Another kid is literally dipping his fries in applesauce. I'm doing what I can, man. Just trying to survive out here. Ugh. Now this opened up a black market opportunity. Kids started smuggling salt and pepper packets into the lunchroom to sell them. But the lunch aides and the teachers were on it, and everyone who was caught selling this stuff or using it got detentions. It was a battle like this for a while, and guess what? The school never brought salt and pepper packets back. But the Mountain Dew vending machine, it's still glowing right there in the cafeteria. He punched the teacher. Why? To get out of a quiz. So there was this one history teacher, ex-military, dude was jacked. He biked 10 miles to school every morning, kept an ab roller in the corner of the room, ate beans and spinach for lunch. Dude was built like a protein bar. One day he gives the class a pop quiz. Groans everywhere. That's when Jeff, the biggest kid in class, he was a football lineman, literal boulder with a backpack, he raises his hand. If I can punch you in the stomach and make you flinch, can we all get 100s on the pop quiz? Room goes silent, the teacher's staring at him, and he nods. Deal. He stands up, folds his arms behind his back, everyone gets out of the way. Jeff steps forward, winds up, and absolutely drills the teacher in the stomach. The teacher doesn't flinch, doesn't move, he just breathes and says, quiz stays. Take your seat, everybody. And that was it. Jeff became the kid that punched the teacher. And the teacher became the guy you never mess with. Oh, is she just on TikTok right now? Dude, I guess we can all be on our phones then. No phones in class. What? So this teacher at this one school was just done. She was tenured, bitter, and she didn't even fake it anymore. She walked in late almost every single day, never brought in her laptop, and gave students independent reading like 5 days a week. But this time, she just kind of took it a little too far. She walked in 10 minutes late, holding Starbucks, sat down at her desk and said, "I'm not really in the mood today, class, so just pretend I gave you something to do." Then she pulled out her phone and didn't even put headphones on. She just started scrolling on TikTok full volume while sipping her coffee. The whole class looked around like, wait, what are we supposed to do? But naturally, a few people pulled out their phones as well. You know, I guess it's totally fine to be on our phone today, they thought. Absolutely not. No phones allowed. I don't want to hear a sound from you guys. Silent. Do something, but be silent. They're like, you're literally watching TikToks in front of us. What the heck's your problem? That's when one kid pulled his phone back out. Not to scroll, but to record a video.
If I post myself and get...
I don't care how cheap something is.
Just a quick video, her at her desk watching TikTok full volume, sipping her coffee, and the rest of the class sitting in silence. He posted it that night. Next day, 40,000 views. Somebody sent that video to the principal. The next day, the principal pulled him aside and asked him to take the video down. But instead of getting mad, he said this: "Thank you for sharing that. We're gonna use it." They're gonna use it, he says. By sixth period, the superintendent showed up at the school. He walked straight into that classroom. The principal was behind him. They asked that teacher to step out in the hallway. She never came back in. The next day, they had a sub. Good. That teacher should definitely not be teaching. It's frozen. Run. So this one school had a tradition. In 8th grade, during the last week of school, there was a day called Water Balloon Day. It was unofficial, unsanctioned. Everyone knew it happens right after lunch in the courtyard. What started as a couple kids tossing water balloons around turned into a full-blown event. And every year it got a little bigger. But this one class took it way too far. They planned for weeks, mapped out the courtyard, found the nooks and the crannies. They assigned roles: runners, refillers, and spotters. Kids were wearing goggles and rain ponchos like they were going to war. And the wild part was these weren't just simple water balloons. People were freezing them the night before. Others were filling water balloons with Kool-Aid to give them themed and color ammo. By the time lunch ended, it was full-blown chaos. Teachers tried to shut it down, but they were getting hit too. Hey, stop! That's when the principal stormed out with the megaphone. Everyone drop the balloons now! Students were drenched. They were running to avoid getting in trouble. The next day, an announcement was made. Attention students, all balloon activity from here on out is permanently banned. Any students participating in any future water balloon fights or things of the such will be expelled. But for that 8th grade class, especially those who avoided getting in trouble, they said it was a day that they'll never forget. And it is a legend around that school. That's epic. Today, we simulate chaos. There was this one day at this one middle school where the principal made a huge deal about this upcoming assembly. It was a full school event, mandatory attendance. And apparently, they'd be reviewing emergency protocols. So everybody thought it was going to be a boring fire drill type situation, or one of those lockdown walkthroughs. But no. It was way, way different. When the students got into the gym, the lights were off. A fog machine was going and the janitor was standing there in firefighter gear, just waiting. That's when the principal grabbed the mic and said, "Today, we simulate chaos." And suddenly alarms started blaring. Kids were screaming. There were strobe lights going off. What is going on? One kid in a wheelchair started spinning himself in circles, screaming, "Every man for himself! Every man for himself!" Another kid was climbing the bleachers, people were running outside the school, and somebody's shoes ended up in the rafters, which to this day they have no idea how that even happened. Well, it turns out the entire thing was the principal's idea. He said the best way to prepare for an emergency was to be surprised by one, and he put this whole thing together. Apparently, he was really excited about it. It was so crazy and nobody knew what was happening that one teacher passed out, students were huddled together praying, and by the end of it, the janitor just stood on the stage saluting the students like they had just survived a real disaster. Nice! Good work, team! The next week, the school board banned all unauthorized drills. So yeah, they were supposed to learn what to do in an emergency. Instead, they learned what happens when a principal goes completely off script. It's kinda legendary though, not gonna lie. What's going on back there? Call a priest! This happened in elementary school. There were two sisters that lived at the top of a very steep hill. And I mean super steep, winding hill. Them at the top. And every morning, the school bus had to climb all the way to the top just to get them. But one morning, one of the sisters gets on looking pale. She sits in the back, she's quiet, the vibes are not good. Well, halfway down the steep hill, she throws up. hard, loud, full-forced, right into the aisle. Her sister sees it and immediately throws up as well. A couple of kids nearby start gagging, and then they throw up. And most of them are throwing up in the aisle. And remember, this is going downhill. So as they're puking, this river of vomit is just flowing to the front of the bus. And as the river passes each row, those people begin to throw up, like a chain reaction. Every seat, somebody's adding to the stream. Like it's a contagious situation. Well, the river of vomit reaches the front. That's when the driver, Miss Jeannie, finally notices. She slams on the brake, stands up, turns around and says, "What is going on back here?" Then she sees it and immediately wishes she hadn't. She radios the school. "Oh my God, it smells. We're gonna need all the towels you have and maybe call the priest." When the bus finally pulls up to the school, the principal and the nurse are waiting. Jeannie opens the door to the bus and the puke starts to pour out of it. That's how much was in there. Eventually, everybody gets off the bus, but the smell follows them into the school. And I kid you not, kids were throwing up in other classrooms just from the scent. And that day went down in history. What a frickin' nightmare. I don't feel good. Puke somewhere else. It's finals week, and the hallways are dead silent during class. Everyone's either taking tests or they're doing reviews. Well, on this particular day, this one kid had not felt good. His stomach feels weird. He's nauseous. By midday, he's pale, and he can't hold it in anymore. So he sprints out of the classroom to the bathroom. He turns the corner to the nearest bathroom, and the janitor cart is parked right there. One bathroom is locked and the other one is blocked. "I gotta throw up," he said. "Throw up somewhere else," the janitor replies. He tries to slip past him. "No, stay back." Now he's panicking, but he sees the garbage bag hanging off the janitor's cart. So he decides he's just gonna throw up in there. But the janitor says, "Shoo, get out of here." And that's it. Kid just steps back, looks at the floor in front of him, and pukes all over it. He then backs up a bit and pukes more. Now he's leaving this like puke trail as he's stepping back. When he's done, he wipes his face and he looks at the janitor and says, "Well, looks like you're gonna have to clean that up, huh?" And the janitor is mad. But there's nothing he can do because he's the one that refused this kid a safe, clean toilet to throw up in. So now that's what he gets. Everybody's shoes off before the test. But I'm not wearing socks. Well, that's too damn bad. So this teacher had a rule, a very specific rule. Before every test, shoes had to come off. No exceptions. It didn't matter if you didn't have any socks on. It didn't matter if it was cold. She said it helped keep the energy in the room settled and grounded. Her exact words were, "Your mind works better when your feet can breathe." Obviously, at first, people thought she was joking, but she wasn't. She even had a bin by the front door labeled testing shoes. That's where students would put their shoes in when they got in the classroom on test day. And if you did forget to wear socks, she had loaner socks, like actual backup socks that she kept in her drawer. People rarely used them, but they were there. But one day, one kid walks in and he doesn't take his shoes off. He just sits down. He begins the test and then she stops everything. "Hey, you need to remove your shoes or leave the room." And he's like, "You know what, miss? Is this even in the handbook? Are you even allowed to do this?" She doesn't answer him. She just stares at him, walks over to his desk, and writes a big 0 on it. That's when he gets up, walks to the office, and tells them everything. The next week, a new policy came down. No teacher may require students to remove shoes. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yo, Jacob got lunch detention. Lucky. They called it lunch detention. It sounded terrifying. No talking, no food, no freedom, just an empty room and shame. But then this one kid gets sent there, and he comes back looking way too happy. Everyone's like, "Yo, are you good?" Bro, that was actually fire. Turns out, lunch detention wasn't even detention. There were snacks, there was music, there was a frickin' couch. So the teacher that was running it was super chill. People would be playing Uno in the corner. Nobody wanted to leave. So here's what happened. A while back, the principal asked this one teacher to run lunch detention. He did. Nobody ever questioned it, and the principal never checked in. He never stopped by. And like I said, that teacher, super chill. He just made it his own thing, this chill spot for students to hang out during lunch. So while the rest of the school thought it was punishment, kids were in there vibing, like it was some exclusive lunch lounge. And it lasted months before people started getting suspicious. They shut it down eventually, but to this day, it's still kind of a legend. They called it lunch detention, but it was basically club detention, right? I ate half my meatloaf, but she said it wasn't enough. So one day this kid goes through the lunch line. He gets his lunch tray, meatloaf, peas, chocolate milk, all that stuff, which meatloaf for lunch is crazy, but anyway. He eats a little bit of it. Obviously it's not that great, so he throws it in the garbage. But a lunch monitor sees this happen and walks over, like she caught him shoplifting. You're wasting school resources. If you're not gonna eat, don't take food. I wasn't hungry. Well, next time you're eating alone. She writes him up on the spot, and the next day he has lunch detention. He walks in expecting to be alone, but there's another kid already sitting there. Very similar story. He didn't finish his corn and got written up by the same lunch monitor. Both of them go home that day and tell their parents. And the parents, they do not take this lightly. Calls get made, emails are sent. Apparently, this lunch monitor has been doing this all year, punishing kids for not cleaning their trays, for not eating every last bite. By the end of the week, she is pulled from the lunchroom. Next week, there's another lady taking her spot. New lunch monitor and a totally better vibe. From then on, if you weren't hungry, you could just throw your food out. What a concept. That lady's insane. When this dude was a kid, he was spending the night at his friend's house. It was a super hot day and they had just come back in from playing outside. And these dudes were scoundrels. They were playing with mud and dirt, sand. They were sweaty. So before dinner, this kid wanted to take a shower. So he figured that wouldn't be an issue. He grabs a towel, he walks to the bathroom, and as he's about to close the door, his friend's mom says, "Hey, no showers before dinner." This kid kind of laughs because obviously she's joking, right? I mean it. He paused. He was like, why? 'Cause it confuses your stomach. Confuses your stomach? What the heck is she talking about? He stood there, still sweaty, covered in dirt, mud, sand, towel in his hand, with his friend's whole family nodding to him like this is some normal situation. So he sat at the table, feeling completely nasty and trying to eat a slab of lasagna that he said was super mid. And when he was finally done, he stood up to go use the shower. "That was great. Thank you. I'm gonna go shower." And that's when his friend's mom said this. "No, wait at least an hour. Your body needs time to transition." "I think my body's fine. I'm just gonna wait at least an hour. Your body needs time to transition." At that moment, he just sat back down. He silently decided that he was never gonna come to this friend's house ever again. You didn't even look at the slides? Nope. Bro, we're gonna fail. So there was this one group project in 8th grade that counted for 25% of the final grade. Like it was a serious end of the year multi-slide, multi-day situation here. And this one group had 3 kids that really cared. And then there was Jeff. Jeff did nothing. Didn't come to the prep meetings, didn't contribute to the slides, didn't even open the Google Doc. All he said was, "Just tell me what I need to say." And they tried. They gave him a script. He didn't look at it. He didn't practice. Didn't even show up to the final rehearsal that they were doing. Fast forward to presentation day. Everyone's in their best outfits. Posters were ready. The slides were cued. And 30 seconds before their group is called, Jeff walks into class like he had just woken up. "Hey, what's up, guys?" The group is panicking. One kid tells him, "Are you kidding me right now, dude? You know what? Just stand there, okay? Don't say anything. Don't mess this up for us." They get up front. Everyone is nervous. And then out of nowhere, Jeff starts talking. No slides, no notes, just straight off the dome. Our project explores the intersection of environmental policy and youth activism, and we believe change happens locally. The teacher's face lit up. The group, they were stunned. And by the time Jeff was done, people were clapping. They clapped. They got an A+, perfect score. And as soon as they sit back down, Jeff leans over and says, "I told you I'd come through." After that, nobody trusted Jeff, but everybody remembered that presentation. And even the teacher brought it up the next year. But it's crazy because with 0 prep, 0 effort, and 0 teamwork, Jeff gave the best speech in the class. And nobody could explain it. Her mom's boyfriend was nice at first. Helpful, friendly. "Hey Kayla, I brought you home some McDonald's." "Thanks, Mark." He treated her great. Then he married her mom. And almost overnight, he stopped talking to her completely. "Hey Mark, how's your day?" He would walk past her like she wasn't even there. Then her little brother was born. And that's when it got worse. She said he basically decided that she didn't belong in the house anymore. First, he stopped cooking for her. He told the 14-year-old, "If you want food, buy your own." But she also wasn't allowed to get a job. Then he would take her laundry out of the washer mid-cycle to put his own in. And he would throw her wet clothes just on the floor. "Why'd you do this?" He would always scream that it was because, "This is my machine. I bought it." And then, as a punishment, she would make her do everyone else's laundry and fold it all. He banned her friends from coming over, never let her take the classes she wanted at the park district, and then he did one thing that she said that she would never forget. She went away to school camp for 2 weeks. She came back excited to get home. She walked into her room, looked at her bookshelf. All my books are gone. Every single one. Turns out, while she was away, he had been using her book collection to start fires in the fireplace. One by one, burning them for kindling. And that is another example of a horrible, horrible person. I bet I can do more push-ups than any student in this assembly. Oh yeah? So this one principal was mad cocky, always walking around like he was the final boss of the school or something. Well, one time during an assembly, he was giving a full speech about discipline and mental toughness or whatever. And in the middle of it, he goes, I bet I can do more push-ups than any student in this assembly. Everybody laughed. They thought he was joking. But then this one kid stands up and says, all right, bet. The whole gym goes quiet. The kid starts walking to the front like it's about to be a championship match. And the principal, he doesn't back down. They clear a space in the middle of the gym floor. The principal takes off his jacket and rolls up his sleeves. The kid just drops into position. No warm-up, just locked in. Someone starts counting down. 3, 2, 1, go! And boom, they start. Everyone's cheering, cameras are out. They hit 20, 30, 35 push-ups. The principal's arms start shaking, his face is red, he's sweating. And the kid, well, he's staring him down mid-push-up, like he wants this man to quit. 40, 45, 50 push-ups, and boom. Principal falls face first into the gym floor, just collapses, he's done. The gym goes dead silent once again, and the kid, well, he stands up. He raises one fist in the air. People are screaming and jumping, and this kid is feeling good. They ended the assembly early that day, but for the rest of the year, that kid walked around the hallways like a legend. You're a legend, bro. There he is. Push-up guy. Hi, Steven. Where did the principal think was gonna happen? That's crazy. Younger siblings, am I right? This guy had a younger brother, and his younger brother always won. Didn't matter what happened. If they fought, he would get blamed. If something broke, he would get blamed. Parents always hit him with, you're older. You should know better. The younger brother figured this out fast, so he started using it to his advantage. He would start trouble, poking at him, annoying him, messing with his stuff. The second the older brother reacted, dude, get out of here, what's your problem? He would just scream, Mom! And then the older brother gets in trouble over and over and over again. So eventually this kid decides, all right, that's enough. Because no matter what happens, he gets punished. So he's at least gonna get a little bit of revenge. He waited until nighttime and he went into the bathroom that he shares with his little brother. He takes the toothbrush and he puts soap all inside the bristles. He then lets it kind of dry and puts it back in the cabinet. Well, when his brother brushed his teeth that night, it tastes weird, it tastes weird. He's spitting toothpaste everywhere, but his parents are annoyed. They're like, dude, just brush your teeth. Quit being a baby, your toothbrush is fine, it's normal toothpaste. No, I can't, it's disgusting. Stop being dramatic. And yes, it was simple, but the noise of his brother getting yelled at even for something so stupid as that made him happy. This makes me happy. And he slept well that night. I've been teaching 7th grade for 12 years. You know, I've seen a lot. I've broken up fights, I've handled lockdowns, but nothing prepared me for the yogurt incident. It was a Thursday, it was quiet, and the students were working on some packet. And then out of nowhere, splat. Go-gurt all over the ceiling like some dairy-based grenade. And the worst part is, nobody claimed it. No one looked up, nobody laughed, they sat there. Like they planned it. It was driving me crazy. I filed an incident report. I even brought the janitor in to look at it so I could use him as a witness. He said, and I quote, "That's not the first yogurt I scraped off the ceiling." To this day, nobody knows who did it. But every time I see yogurt or smell yogurt, God forbid I taste yogurt, my stomach drops. Wait, is he breathing? No, he's fine. He's built for this. This kid walks into class one day, and he realizes there's a quiz. Well, he didn't study. at all. So instead of taking a 0, he decides to take a gamble. You see, there was this massive beanbag chair in the back of the classroom. Like one of those giant overstuffed ones that sinks when you sit in it, almost like it's quicksand. Well, this kid, he was small. Like strategically small, you know? The kind of kid who can blend in anywhere if he wanted to. So he gets into class a little bit early. He looks at the beanbag and then he looks at the clock. Oh, okay. And he just goes for it. He walks to the back of the room, lowers himself in the beanbag and just disappears. And it completely swallows him. Gone. No limbs, no face, just beanbag. From the teacher's desk, it looks empty back there. Just looked like a normal beanbag. She hands out the quiz, starts the timer, and doesn't say a word. She assumes this kid's absent. Meanwhile, he's just inside this beanbag, curled up in silence, just riding it out. And just as the bell rings and everybody else is grabbing their stuff, getting ready to leave the classroom, he rises from this beanbag like a ghost and just walks out. And to this day, that teacher still thinks he was absent on that quiz day. That's absolutely crazy. This teacher was mean for no reason. She snatched phones, she gave out detentions like it was candy, and she always blamed the wrong people. So this one kid noticed something. Him and the teacher had the same exact water bottle. Same color, same brand, same size. So one night, he filled his water bottle with pickle juice and spicy pickles. He screwed the lid on tight, and he labeled the lid, "Do not touch, pickle juice inside." The next day, he walked into that teacher's class early and casually left the water bottle on her desk. Didn't say a word, just sat down and he waited. Halfway through the lesson, she picked it up without even looking, took a big sip, and instantly froze. What is this? It worked. The kid said this. Wait, I think that's mine. She took a closer look at the water bottle and read the lid. Do not touch, pickle juice inside. Why was this on my desk? I guess I forgot where I left it. I'm sorry. Principal's office now. He goes to the principal's office. So why are you messing with Mrs. Johnson? I didn't. Well, then how did you randomly drink pickle juice? We have the exact same water bottle. I even have the receipt. I bought it last month. Okay, but why was there pickle juice in there? Because I made pickles and I want to eat them at lunch. Okay, but you couldn't have put your name on the water bottle or something? I did. I even put on the lid, "Do not drink pickle juice inside." So it's not my fault she doesn't pay attention to... Hey, language. I'm sorry. Am I in trouble? I mean, technically, no, you're not, so get out of here. And that's basically how it went. He didn't get in trouble because technically he didn't do anything wrong. Honestly, that's a legendary prank. So this one guy's at Lowe's and he's shopping solo. DIY plumbing situation. He's in the aisle looking for parts. He's totally zoned in. When, out of nowhere, he kind of tweaks and had a little freak out moment. Turns out it was a yellow lab. The dog sniffed him. That's it, just a little snout boop. Nothing more. But this guy spins around like, what the hell, man? And the dog owner is like, you'll be alright, man, chill. Now, any normal person would have taken a breath and been like, okay, yeah, you're right. Hi, what a good boy, you know? But this guy loses it. That is not your call to make. Don't tell me I'll be alright. Are you kidding me? He's just full-blown going off on this dude. And the guy calmly says this. You know Lowe's is dog-friendly, right? He sniffed you, man. Big deal, you're just being a jackass now. And our guy says this right before he walks away. Off. He grabs his stuff, he storms to customer service. I want to file a complaint. About what? A dog sniffed me. So yeah, he left mad, still very much heated, over a dog sniff. Imagine being that guy. This bully got smoked. So there's this kid named Mateo. He's super nice, he's quiet, and he always walks around in these old beat up New Balance shoes. And then there's Jackson, super loudmouth. And he wears these $600 limited edition Nikes that everyone compliments. Hey, yo, check the drip. Nice shoes, Jackson. Thanks. Now, normally, Mateo ignores Jackson because Jackson's constantly making fun of Mateo's shoes. But one day in gym, Mateo had enough. Jackson was like, bro, you're still wearing those nasty-ass crusty shoes? You're probably super poor, you freaking idiot. Everyone laughs. Mateo doesn't. Because here's the secret. Mateo is a walking sneaker encyclopedia. He can spot a pair of fake sneakers from a mile away. And nobody knew this about him. And Jackson, those $600 shoes, Mateo's known for months that those are fake. And he's kept quiet because he's a nice guy. Until now. When the class is doing laps around the gym, Mateo sneaks out and heads to the locker room. He opens Jackson's locker because, of course, he never locks it. And he walks out to the gym floor holding the shoes like evidence. Everybody, yo, dude, those are my shoes. Since y'all want to talk about my shoes, let's talk about Jackson's shoes. He pulls out his phone and he begins comparing pictures of fake shoes to the ones that Jackson has, and they line up. So this is a fake. Look at Jackson's. See that stitching? That's fake. Look at the logo. It's completely off. It's in the wrong font. Look at the sole of the shoe. Completely discolored. These are only worth 25 bucks. Everyone's like, what? Dude? So you're a freaking fraud then, huh, Jackson? No, I mean, yes. I mean, no. Bro, you can't clown people for their shoes when you're wearing freaking replicas. I paid more for my New Balances than you did for those fakes. And from then on, nobody made fun of Mateo's shoes ever again. Man, yeah. Legend. This Spanish teacher had a rule. If you forget your pencil, you would have to borrow one from her supply cup and pay her back with a brand new one the next day. But she would always make sure to embarrass you because of it. Well, look who's unprepared again today. Little baby Kyle boy. All right, here, you can have a pencil, but bring me back a new one. Okay? What's wrong with you? Well, this kid named Marcus shows up to school one day with a bag full of sharpened brand new pencils. And he would sell them. One pencil, 50 cents. No need to pay the teacher back with a brand new pencil the next day, and no public shaming. So that's kind of a win. Pretty soon it's not just the Spanish class he is selling to. He made little flyers and he passed them around the school. And pretty soon people were texting him, ordering pencils. Whenever they forgot one, he was the guy they would go to. Just 50 cents. Well, it got popular. Business was booming. So he upped his game a little bit. He had a premium package with the highest quality mechanical pencils you could imagine. He bought them in bulk, so they were pretty cheap, and he would charge $2 per mechanical pencil. And people were buying those as well. He was selling out every time. Eventually, Marcus had an incredibly loyal customer base and a bunch of single-dollar bills in a shoebox under his bed. You gotta respect Marcus, and you gotta respect the hustle. Okay, listen to this. At this school, the water bottles in the cafeteria were sold for $3, but they were small and always warm. The only other option was the water fountains in the hallways, and those were absolutely disgusting.
Oh my god, it's green? That's disgusting.
The spouts were green, the water came out warm, and every time it tasted like pennies. That's when this dude named Ryan showed up with a plan. One day, he walks into school with a giant cooler bag and 2 of those big water jugs that were used to refill bottles.
Cold water, 50 cents to fill your bottle.
Well, it turns out most kids didn't have a water bottle. So what Ryan did was he stopped charging people to fill their waters and instead sold reusable water bottles himself for $3 each. The second you bought a water bottle, you were in the system and you could get your water filled. Pretty soon, Ryan set up at lunch with 4 water jugs in this giant cooler bag, and he's refilling everybody's water bottle. Kids, teachers, everybody. People were skipping the nasty water fountains and going straight for Ryan's ice-cold filtered water. And months later, by the time the school had actually replaced the water fountains with nicer ones, Ryan had made $400. And the entire school was carrying around the water bottles that he sold. What a genius. You gotta respect the hustle. When he was 10, his grandpa asked him, "What do you want for your birthday?" And he says, "A brick." "A brick? Why?" "Because my parents still have the super old TV. If I throw a brick at the TV, we'll have to get a new one." Oh, I'm just kidding. Maybe just some Pokemon cards or something. The grandpa just smiles and nods. A couple months later, this kid's birthday comes around, and there's a beautifully wrapped present on the table. Heavy, perfect corners. The kid opens it. Inside was a single brick. The grandpa's losing it. You're crazy. I can't believe you remembered. And the grandpa leans in and says real quiet to him, "Wait till your mom's in the kitchen and then waste the TV." So the kid's mom goes into the kitchen to grab the cake. The kid takes the brick, smashes it in the TV. TV is destroyed. What happened here? Now we gotta get a new TV. Yes. The grandpa took the blame for throwing the brick at the TV. "I don't know why I did that." Then the kid says, "It's okay, Mom. Please don't be mad at Grandpa. I'll help you pick out the new TV." "Okay, fine. You're right." "It's okay, Pops. You'll be okay. Just sit down and relax. I'll clean this up." The mom then leaves to grab the broom. "Nice work, kid. I love you, Grandpa." What a nice story. So this girl's about to start high school. 9th grade. New school, new classes. And she just got her course selection sheet for the next year. She fills it out on her own. She just picks what she wants to take. You know, she doesn't want to overwhelm herself, which I totally get. It's her first year in a brand new school. It's high school, you know? And she's just trying to get through the transition without drowning in homework. Yeah, I would do the same. A few days later, her mom finds the form, and she loses it. Why did you pick all the easiest courses? What happened to preparing for college? Mom, I picked all the easy ones because I don't want to drown in work. It's high school, and I'm not even sure if I want to go to university yet. She didn't say she's dropping out. She didn't say that she's never going to learn again. She just said, I'm 13, Mom, I just don't know. But that's not enough for her mom. Her mom is accusing her of slacking, saying she's just trying to avoid homework. Then she notices that she didn't sign up for music class, and she flips out again. Why didn't you sign up for music class? You are so good at music. Because if I take music, I have to join the band, and band practice is at 5 a.m., Mom. So? She's 13. She doesn't want honors classes and pre-sunrise saxophone rehearsals. The mom ended up forcing her to take the classes that she wanted her to take, which in my opinion is so messed up. And I just want to tell her, don't be confused when your daughter doesn't want to talk to you in 5 years. Oh my god, my farms! This was back in the Facebook game era. This kid's mom was completely addicted to Farmville. She'd wake up in the morning, pour herself a cup of coffee, and immediately it was farming time. Harvest, 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 plant. My farm is looking great. This mom was also kind of a helicopter parent, so she would monitor her kids' activity online as well, which meant she had her kids' Facebook passwords. But more than monitoring their activity, she was also playing Farmville on their accounts. Basically a whole digital farming empire. All of my farms are doing amazing. She took it way too seriously. I'm not sure if any of you remember this or your parents, but Farmville meant business back in the day. One day, the kids get grounded for some bogus reason, and the son, he's mad. I'm mad! He wants payback, so he's sitting in his room and he's thinking to himself, what does she love the most? Her farms. So one night, he logs into his Facebook, and he intentionally sabotages everything in his farm. Then he goes on the family computer. His mom's already logged in. He goes to her precious farm and completely sabotages everything there as well. Selling, deleting, harvesting too early. The next morning, he hears it. He's still in his bed. From downstairs, he hears the yelling. What happened to my farm? What happened to all my farms? Panic and fast-clicking mouse noises filled the air. She spends the whole day absolutely furious, talking about hackers, emailing Facebook. She never put two and two together that her son probably did this, but he knew, and it made him so happy. That's what you get, Mom. School prank gone seriously wrong, or right. This was back in 1979. Somebody glued all of the locks on all of the doors in this one high school. The teachers show up. They can't open their doors. What the heck is going on? Keys won't even go in. They couldn't even get into the supply closets because those were also glued. Within 20 minutes, the whole building is in absolute chaos. Janitors are trying to solve it. Teachers are trying to pick away at the glue. Students just standing around watching this all unfold. Eventually, the principal actually canceled school. School is canceled until further notice, students. Now, here's the thing. This all happened during the nicest week of the year. It was sunny, warm. Everyone wanted to be outside. So instead of being upset, obviously the students were like, all right, days off. We're going to the pool. Yabo. They were tanning, they were listening to music. Because it's the 70s, nobody can text, nobody can call, so they're calling each other. Are we still off school? Is school still canceled? Then they find out from the principal that prom is canceled until whoever did this comes forward. Still, nobody talks at first. 3 full days go by before the school actually replaces the locks. Then eventually, the kid that did this admitted to it. It was me. He gets expelled immediately. School's back in session. Prom is not canceled. But here's the thing. Nobody was mad at him. The students actually loved him for it because right before prom, they got a few days off to go to the pool and get their tans on to be tanned for prom. It was a perfect situation. And that sounds awesome. So this one teacher, Mr. Thompson, was way too chill. He never gave homework, he never graded anything, he didn't even pretend to be strict. One time a kid asked him a question and he literally pulled up Google and was like, you know man, I don't know, let's figure this out together. Bro is one of us. But one day, someone asked him how long he had been teaching. Oh, I just kind of got into this. You know, and people laughed. But it was like, wait, what? Then a week later, Mr. Thompson, gone. No email, no goodbye. Just a new teacher walks in and goes, hey guys, I'll be finishing off the year. Mr. Thompson had to leave for personal reasons. But one of the office aides, who was a student, overheard a call between the principal and the school district. Apparently, Mr. Thompson was never a teacher. He was a long-term sub who never got certified. He wasn't supposed to be teaching alone. So when the district found out, they pulled him immediately. And here's the worst part. His replacement was absolutely horrible. Strict, boring, cold. The kind of teacher who acted like they hated kids. And even though Mr. Thompson wasn't technically a real teacher, he made way more of a real impact than half the ones who are. Man, that sucks. Dude, don't shoot it from there. If it sticks, I'm a legend. It started with one kid. He was bored during history class, and he sat in the last row of the room. So because he was bored, he pulled a rubber band from his backpack, and he shot it at the wall behind him. Thwap! It stuck to the wall. No one noticed. The next day, he did it again. Nice! Thwap! 2 rubber bands stuck to the wall, and then it became this thing. It was like an unspoken challenge for the kids that sat in the back of the room. The challenge would be to see if your rubber band can stick to the wall. And kids did whatever it took. They dipped these rubber bands in spit, juice, soda, anything that made them tacky enough to hold. It was disgusting, but it worked. And over time, the wall started to change. There were layers. Bands stuck on top of other bands. It looked like some weird, stretchy art project. And the teacher, he never turned around. He was one of those teachers that stood in the front of the class the whole time and he lectured from the board. He never noticed a thing. But then one day, they got a sub. And the sub noticed immediately. She walks in, she sees the wall, and she freezes. And all the students are waiting her to be grossed out or to snitch to the principal or something. But instead, she walks over, pulls out a pen, and leaves a note on the wall. When she walked away, the kids checked the note. All the note said was respect. That's awesome. One day at this one middle school, a teacher walked past the lockers and stopped. What is that? Beef jerky. It was a full, seasoned pack of beef jerky, just sitting on top of one of the lockers. He took it down, threw it out, and he thought nothing of it. Where did that come from? Anyway, the next day, same locker, new beef jerky pack. What? He's like, okay, what's going on? He throws it out again. Day after that, boom, another one. Okay, what the heck? Every single day. Take it down, a new one shows up. Take it down, a new one shows up. He even tried to catch whoever was doing this, like a stakeout, waiting around the corner with his coffee like it was a mission. Well, I'm gonna get you, you little monster, I'm gonna get you. But he missed it. He could never catch the person doing this. And word started spreading to the students. That locker area became a spectacle. Whenever the jerky would show up, students would be around taking pictures of it and honoring it like it was a shrine. And get this, it kept happening for a month. Sometimes the locker would change, sometimes it would be hidden better, but every single day, somewhere in the school, there would be beef jerky. Then one day it just stopped. No warning, no reveal, no note, no nothing. To this day, no one knows who did it. And honestly, that's legend behavior right there. Respect to the beef jerky kid. The performance is over, you may all go home. I'm a star! So every year, this school put on a big spring play. Tickets, costumes, a full audience. It was a big deal. And this one year, they were doing Robin Hood. Now, most of the cast was taking this very seriously. But there was this one kid. Let's call him Noah. He played one of the guards. He barely had any lines. And that was the problem. Because Noah wanted more stage time, and nobody gave it to him. So, on opening night, he decided to take it. Everything's going fine. The actors are on point. The audience is locked in. Robin Hood's doing his big dramatic speech. I do not steal for greed. I steal for justice. While the kings eat in their golden halls, the people will scrape crumbs off the floor. So yeah, that kid was killing it. He was feeling himself. But then Noah walks forward, points to Robin Hood, and says with a completely straight face, he's got a crossbow in his pants. That's why he's walking like that. The actors freeze. The kid who played Robin Hood looks like he's about to cry. But Noah's not done. No. He starts pacing across the stage like a detective, muttering to himself, the moss is fake. The footprints don't match the alibi. This was never about taxes. Everybody's flabbergasted. He's inventing a crime subplot in the middle of a play. And then the finale. Knocks over a set piece, points up to the sky and says, it was the butler! And he starts running around the stage. The lights cut. The cast members are crying. The principal gets onto the mic and says, the performance is over. You may all go home now. I'm a star. And that was it. The show got canceled mid-performance. No second night. No cast party. It was done. And Noah, well, he showed up to school the next day like nothing happened. But people said you can tell. He was very, very proud of what he did. You want a basic charge or fast? Let's do fast. I need it juiced up by next period. This kid figured out that everyone in his school always had super low battery on their phones. Teachers wouldn't let you charge your phone in class, and half of the outlets were blocked off. By third period, everyone's walking around with like 1% battery. So one day, he shows up to school with a massive portable battery bank. He hides it inside his locker, and he builds a business. $3 for a basic cord charge, $7 for the fast cord charge, $10 for full day priority service. Each cord is labeled blue, slow, red, fast. He's got adapters for every type of phone. He's got a chart in a spiral notebook, and business was booming. People are taking him up on this charging service. He's got sticky notes in every device, this phone for lunch only, this phone charging from lunch till end of day. You know, he was very organized. By the end of this week, he's got regulars, he's got VIPs. One girl even prepaid to have her own charging slot for the entire month to use whenever she wanted to. Kid asks if he can get a charge during science. Yeah, all right, basic or fast? Oh, fast. All right, that's $7. I'll be right back. But then one day, 3 kids show up to his locker in between classes, and they're all huddled around it. One teacher saw this and got very suspicious. She opens it up and finds 6 phones plugged into a glowing battery brick, fast charging cords tangled like spaghetti, and a handwritten menu taped to the door of the locker. Shut down, battery confiscated, parents called. That was it. He was definitely upset, but dang, what a business. In those 2 weeks he ran this, he made over $200. All because he had a good idea and a battery brick. Gotta respect the hustle. Where's my marker? Where's my marker? Miss, there's another marker right there. It's not the same. So this teacher had a favorite marker. Not the kind of favorite where she used it. It was the kind of favorite where she just talked about it a lot and kept it close. It was a purple Expo marker with a chisel tip. She called it her thinking marker. You know, she would use it to like teach and whatever. She kept it in a separate drawer and she said that nobody was allowed to use it. One day she opens the drawer and it's gone. She pulls the drawer out of her desk, turns around and holds it up to the class. Who took my purple marker? Class is confused. They're like, here we go. But she doesn't start class. She just paces the room. You know, I'm not even mad. I'm just really, really disappointed in you guys. That marker was a gift. It meant something to me. And everyone's just sitting there like, yo, is she crying? Over a marker? Then she locks the door. We are not leaving until it's returned. She gives a whole 15-minute speech. She called it a teachable moment in betrayal. People started checking their bags just to prove that they didn't have it. They were dumping everything out like, miss, we don't have your frickin' marker, lady. Eventually, someone finds this purple marker under her desk. It rolled behind a storage box that she kept down there. She picks it up, holds it in the air, and she says, see? This is why trust matters, you guys. Class ended 10 minutes late that day because of this teacher's nonsense, and nobody learned a thing, except for the fact that maybe she is weirdly in love with an Expo marker. This stepmom is evil. This happened when this kid was around 11 years old. You see, his dad had remarried a few years earlier, and things at home were weird, but he was trying to make it work. One day his stepmom goes, come on buddy, let's get some ice cream. And he's like, all right. To him, this feels nice. Maybe they're gonna bond. Maybe she's finally warming up to him. So they go get cones. They sit down inside the shop. He's eating his ice cream, thinking it's a normal day. She then sets her ice cream down, looks him in the face, and says, I think it's best if you go live with your mom full time. He's confused. But before he can answer, she says this, nobody in our house loves you. The dude said he just sat there frozen. She keeps going. You take your dad's money. You smell. You ruin everything, and you make him choose you over me. She's saying this to an 11-year-old inside of an ice cream shop. Then when she's done laying into him, she stands up, walks out, gets in the car, and leaves him there at the ice cream shop crying. He said that moment changed him forever. No normal adult says that to a child. That woman is evil. In 8th grade, this art teacher had a locked cabinet in the back of the room. It was kind of mysterious. She never talked about it. But once a week, she would go back there, unlock it, take out a small handful of things, and walk away. Kids would whisper, wondering what's inside. Is it expensive paints? Ancient artifacts? Animals? Well, one semester, this student named Riley was picked to stay after school one day to help clean some stuff up. The teacher leaves the room for 5 minutes, and that cabinet key is just sitting there on the desk. So he opens it slow and carefully.
Opening it slow and carefully.
Inside were stacks and stacks of goldfish cracker boxes. No art supplies, no ancient masterpieces, just enough frickin' goldfish crackers to feed a small country. When the teacher comes back in, Riley asks, "Cabinet goldfish! Why?" "Oh, it's my favorite snack. I take one handful per class.
And I just munch on them. I love them.
It was just her own personal snack cabinet. Who would have thought? The first week of school, the vending machines in the hallway were out of order, but one student realized that they weren't broken. The school just wasn't letting anybody use them. "Sorry kids, they're fixing them next month. No snacks." "No snacks? Oh man." But one day, this junior named Derek saw one of the janitors unlock the machine with this tiny round key. Well, he recognized this silver key. It was the same kind of key his dad used for his padlocks at work. Well, that night, Derek dug through the junk drawers at his house, looking for these keys, and he found about 5 of them. Yes. Yes! The next day, during a passing period, he went to the vending machines. He put the first key in, and it unlocked. Apparently, it was the most basic of these keys, and it worked. He opened it up just enough to grab one snack and put it in his backpack. Well, this gave him a brilliant idea. By the end of the week, he had gone into that vending machine multiple times and only took out the most popular, most tasty snacks. And because these vending machines had been broken for so long, nobody really noticed, and there weren't any cameras in the hallway. Well, he would take these popular snacks and he would sell them for double the price of what the vending machine would have sold them for. "Yo, bro, you always have the best snacks. Where do you get them?" "Don't worry about it, Chief. Don't worry about it." By the time the school fixed the vending machines, Derek had made a good chunk of change, and nobody ever realized that those snacks were taken. Now that is crazy, and you gotta respect the hustle. Yo, something stinks. This one guy shared the story. It's the middle of the night. The dad's asleep in his room, and somehow his twin toddlers, both 2 years old, escape their room and go down to the kitchen. They drag a chair across the floor, and they climb on it. They open a drawer they definitely shouldn't be opening, and they pull out a cheese grater. Then they go to the fridge and pull out a block of cheese, Parmesan cheese. So now these 2 toddlers are sitting on the floor with a cheese grater and a block of Parmesan cheese. And all you can hear is just sound of grating cheese. The shavings are falling on the floor. They're picking it up. Now this house had heating vents on the floor. Well, this toddler took all of this cheese, lifted up the heating vent, and they started feeding cheese down the vent. They then go back to the room. Well, morning hits, the dad wakes up. "What is that smell?" Now this is the middle of winter, so the heat was on. The entire house smells like hot feet. He starts checking everything. He opens the fridge, the oven, he's mopping the floors. The smell won't go away, but his toddlers are being suspicious. "What did you 2 do?" "Milk." Now this family is one of those families that had cameras inside the house. So he decided he's gonna check the cameras, and he sees everything happen. What in God's name? So he gets to cleaning. He does as best as he can, but that smell never really went away. But more than the smell, this dad was concerned, because how did his 2-year-old twins get out of their room, go to the kitchen, get a cheese grater, grate Parmesan cheese, and put it into the heating vents? Those 2 are menaces. She really did that? Yup. Well, let's get her fired. There was this one teacher. Strict, rude, completely unpredictable. She'd take off points for sloppy handwriting, dock your grade if you turned something in 5 seconds late, and she would also lose assignments like it was nothing. "Steven, where's your homework?" "I literally turned it in." "Well, I can't find it, so no, you didn't." At first, everybody rolled with it, but she kept pushing. Like one time, she graded a full assignment a 0 because the kid printed it double-sided. "It's harder for me to read. I can't even read this." The moment these kids really snapped, though, was when a student turned in a 3-page paper. It was perfectly done, but he forgot to staple it, and there was no stapler in the classroom. What the heck is 0? Why? Life has consequences. Next time, remember the staple. And that's the point when the class was like, nah, they were done. They started screenshotting their grades, along with the assignment that the grade was for. They recorded her when she was yelling at students. They would save emails that she would send to them where she contradicted herself or made herself look like a horrible teacher. This one kid had a folder on his laptop called Operation Bring Her Down. Once they got a bunch of evidence, they printed everything and put it into a very big packet. They labeled the packet, "Why She Shouldn't Teach." They brought it to the office, and they waited. 3 weeks later, a sub walks into their classroom. No explanation, just, "Hey everybody, my name is Mr. Johnny, and I'm gonna be your sub for the rest of the year. Okay, your teacher had to go," or something. Okay, she was gone. They did it. No goodbye, no warning, just a pleasant surprise on a Thursday afternoon. Hey, I mean, if she was a horrible teacher, good riddance, right? They're better off. Wait, forks cost money now? Yeah, and Isaiah's making a fortune off of it. So here's what happened. At this one school, it was a pretty small school. In their lunchroom, they used real forks. Well, these forks started to go missing. Like every day, kids are accidentally tossing them out, leaving them on the ground, or straight up taking them home. Finally, the lunch lady snaps. That's it, new rule. Forks cost 50 cents. If you want one, you pay, and you better return it. Basically, it's a rental fee for your fork. Well, this kid named Isaiah, he sees an opportunity. The next day, he pulls up to lunch with a backpack full of Costco plastic forks. One fork, 25 cents. Two for 40 cents. Tell your friends. It spreads fast. He's got bundles, different colors, custom sizes, some with graphics on them that he calls limited edition. Yo, let me get 2 SpongeBob forks for my ravioli. Say less. The cafeteria staff notices this, and the principal steps in. Are you running an unauthorized utensil ring in my cafeteria? Well, sir, I'm just providing students with a better utensil option. Making pretty good money, too. He gets written up, they confiscate his inventory, and by Friday, the cafeteria stops charging for forks. But that never actually fixed the problem, because kids were still taking these forks home or accidentally throwing them away. Hey, what can you do? What can you do? You canceled my birthday party? For a B+? Actions have consequences. So this one student got a B+ in math. Not too bad, right? Well, not according to his dad. The dad walks into the room holding the kid's report card. A B+? Are you kidding me? Dad, it's still above average. It's a really hard class. Well, it's not good enough. Give me your phone, now. Wait, what? No phone, and I'm canceling your birthday dinner. Yo, are you serious? Dead serious. The next morning, the dad emails the teacher, saying stuff like, why didn't you push my child harder? He's clearly capable of more. You're supposed to challenge him, not let him slack off. The teacher writes back, your son has the highest grade in class. He's the only one that got above a B. I'm actually very proud of him. His dad is crazy. The kid finds out about this email. He walks up to his dad and says, so can I have my phone back now and maybe my birthday? The dad just stares at him and walks away. Happy birthday to me, I guess. They wanted a legendary senior prank. So they snuck to the football field at midnight with a gallon of chemicals, and their plan was to spell out the graduation year in big numbers across the field with these chemicals. So the grass would die and would spell out 2025. Guys, just wait till after the weekend. It's gonna look awesome. Best prank ever. When Monday came around, it worked. Their graduation year was spelled out. But apparently this field used specialized soil. The chemicals seeped into there and spread around. The damage was permanent. School brings in a contractor. I know you think it's just grass, but it's not just grass. It's a $10,000 repair. We have a game in 3 days. Well, fork it up. Now the school actually wanted to be chill about this. They were just gonna give the kids community service and call it a day. But when the insurance company came, yeah, we aren't paying a dime for this unless you call the police and file a report for vandalism. That's just how it goes. So in order to fix the field, the school had to make it official. They had to file a police report against these kids. They all got taken down to the station and they got a court date. And yeah, that definitely ruined their graduation.
বাইকটা নিচে রাখাস
সকালে উঠিয়া আমি মনে মনে বলি
আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওয়ালাইকুম সালাম।
প্রত্যেকদিন বাচ্চাদের পড়ান?
সবাইকে কি বলছি বাসায় গিয়া এই পড়াটা পড়তে হবে, ঠিক আছে? এখন ছুটি, বাসায় যাও। আপনাকে অনেকবার বলছি এরকম রাস্তাঘাটে আমার সাথে কথা বলবেন না, বিরক্ত করবেন না।
কেন?
লোকটা কে?
আমি জানতাম তুমি রাজি হবে।
আপনি কে?
আপনার অঞ্চলের খাবার অসাধারণ।
তাই তো বলি, কেন ফোন যায় না? না, তোমার নাম্বারটা তাড়াতাড়ি করে বলো।
ঘন্টার পর তো গার্লফ্রেন্ডের লেগে ওয়েট করতে পারো, আর বন্ধুর লেগে 2 মিনিট ওয়েট করতে পারবা না?
ও এখন আমার দোস্ত, তাইলে তো বন্ধু রিত লেগে গেল।
আরে বেটা এত লাফাইস না, যেরকম শুনতেছি পরীর মতো এরকম করলে তো বেটা।
বাদ দে, কালকে যাত্রা দেখা হবে।
ঠিক আছে মামা,
ঠিক আছে মামা।
ঠিক মতো যা।
শালা পারলাম না রে।
তোর তো হাওয়াটা হয়ে গেল।
তুলি, তুই তো সুন্দর নাম। আচ্ছা শোনো, আমি জিসান, আই লাভ ইউ।
আপনাদের তো চিনলাম না। আমার বড় বোনের যে দেবরগুলো আছেন তো সবাইকেই চিনি, বাট আপনাদেরকে তো চিনি না।
যাইতে দে, আর আমার খালা লাগে। কোথায় বলবা? ভালোবাসা যে এত প্যারা, এত কষ্ট, এত জ্বালা যন্ত্রণা, জানলে ভালোই বাসতাম। জিসান আর তুলির ভালোবাসার ইতিহাস তাই রক্ত লাগবে।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম দুলা ভাই।
আরে শালা, ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। কি খবর, কেমন আছো? বান্ধবীও তো যায় না, এতবার ফোন দিলাম ফোনও ধরতেছে না। তুমি একটা ফোন দাও তো, ফোন বের করো।
কি বলেন দুলা ভাই, ও যায় নাই? কথা হইছে, ভাইয়া বলছে যে ভাইয়া আমাদের কোচিং এর সামনে আর আসবে না, আর তোকে ডিস্টার্বও করবে না।
পারবো না।
কারণ না, আমি 1 থেকে 3 গুনবো না বাবা। প্রেম হইলেই হবে, প্রেম হইলে এমনি ডিফারেন্স হবে বাবা। আমার খালি ওরে দরকার। তুমি পড়ো, ঘুমাও তাইলে। গুড নাইট আর বাই।
সহজে কোনো কিছু পাওয়ার মজা নাই, কিন্তু আমগো দোস্ত জিসান কি কম।
ও
ভাবি লাগে বেটা, লজ্জা লাগে না?
কি ওর কথা বাদ দে,
পারো তুই যা।
জামুই তো।
তুই চুপ থাক।
আমি তো আপনাকে চিনি না।
চিনো না যে আজকে চিনলা, আরো চিনবা, আস্তে আস্তে চিনবা। আর শুনো,
আরে বেন সাহেব, নতুন নতুন সম্বন্ধ তো তাই চিনতে পারেন নাই। ওই যে আপনার বান্ধবী তুলি আছে না?
আমার তো তাহলে বিশাল বিপদ। আমি তাহলে কোচিং এ কেমনে যাব, পড়াশোনা কিভাবে করবো? আমার তো ভয় লাগতেছে।
কি খবর?
আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। কি খবর? 3, 2, 1। আর আজকে রাত 10টা, হ্যাঁ?
রক্তজ্ঞান।
ইতিহাস লিখবো, ভালোবাসার ইতিহাস।
ভালো আছি, আপনি ভালো আছেন?
আমি তো ভালো আছি। তো তোমার বোন কোথায়?
আচ্ছা একটা মিনিট, আমি কল দিচ্ছি।
এক রাতেই ভালো হয়ে গেল, এটাও আমার বিশ্বাস করতে হবে? দোস্ত আমার না ভয় লাগতেছে।
কি করবি? সেই না চেহারা, না হলো চেহারা, কথা তো বেশি, চেহারা ওজন বেশি।
আপনি না শুই না দেখা সব জানা ফেলছেন বাবা।